डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
નમસ્કાર દોસ્તો, બાબા સાહેબ આંબેડકર ઓપન યુનિવર્સિટીના BCA પ્રોગ્રામ અંતર્ગત થઈ રહેલા આ વિડિયો લેક્ચર સિરીઝમાં હું કામેશ રાવલ આપનું હાર્દિક સ્વાગત કરું છું. વાત આપણે આજે કરી રહ્યા છે ટોપિક એરેની, જે છે બ્લોક નંબર 3 યુનિટ નંબર 1. સબ્જેક્ટનું નામ છે ફંડામેન્ટલ ઓફ પ્રોગ્રામિંગ લેંગ્વેજ યુઝિંગ સી. હવે બેઝિકલી આપણે થોડું ફોકસ કરીએ કે એરે શું હોય. આજનું આપણું સેશન એ બેઝિકલી આ ટોપિક્સમાં ડિવાઈડ કરેલું છે. પહેલાં આપણે જોઈશું વોટ ઇઝ ધી એરે એકચ્યુઅલી, વોટ ઇઝ ધ ડેફિનેશન ઓફ ઇટ. એના પછી વાય વી નીડ ટુ લર્ન અ એરે, વોટ ઇઝ ધ યુઝ ઓફ ઇટ, એન્ડ દેન હાઉ ટુ ડિક્લેર ધી એરે ઇન ટુ ધી પ્રોગ્રામિંગ લેંગ્વેજ સી, હાઉ કેન વી ઇનિશિયલાઇઝ અવર એરે, ફાઇનલી what is the mathematic which is involved in the array. Along with that we will see what is indexing, then we will see the various dimension of the array, and then we will see some examples. So first we will just start with the definition of the array. So an array is a collection of same type of, that is called homogeneous element under the same variable identifier referenced by index number. So what is it actually? So you know, up to here we have done many programs, and in that we have declared something like this. For example, we are declaring one variable x. Now suppose if you are initializing x by 5, so this is something like this. Now suppose if we are again assigning a newer value, you know, and then if we are trying to print, say printf %d and x variable, you know, this will print value 7. Why? Because whenever you are assigning a newer value, at that time the older value will be replaced, it will be deleted, and then the new value will be stored. Okay. So now let's suppose if we want to make a program in which a number of, we can say, integers that we have to store, number of float variable that we have to store. So for that what we need is, we need a array, right? Array, let's suppose if you are declaring like this, say integer x of 5, then under this variable name x we can store 5 integer variables. Now the thing is, because of this x can store 5 elements, and all the elements are of same type, that is called integer, and that is the reason here we have mentioned same type of, or the another name of it, that is called the homogeneous elements. So now we know that here array can store multiple element, more than one element with the same type. Okay. Now we will just go ahead. What are the use of the array? So let's suppose if your program is having a large amount of data. For example, if you want to store 50 integers, right, 100 numbers, or we can say 10 or 20 float numbers, right, number of characters, for example one paragraph if you want to store. So in that case what we need is array. Okay. Then let's suppose if you want to store the entire matrices, right, entire matrix if you want to store, then again what we need is, we need a array. And second, there are many programs are there in which the string is involved, right. For example, if you want to store your name, if you want to store the name of your university or your program name, so here basically that that string is, we can say something like this. For example, let BCA, so that is the name of the program. So here BCA is a group of character, right, B, C and A. So, that is known as a string. So, if you want to store the string, then again what we need is we need array. How can we declare the array? So, basically if you want to declare the array, in that case you just have to mention the data type. As we know, the array is a homogeneous collection. So, same type of data that we are storing into the array. So, basically what type of data that you are going to store. So, here in this example I have mentioned integer. So, what is integer? Integer is nothing, it is a one kind of data type. Then you have to mention the name of the array, right. So, here we have x. X, it is the name of the array, and then this last thing, that is how many elements that you want to put under the name x, right. So, basically what we can say is here x, that is the array, that is the name of the array, and it can store 10 integer values into the same name x. Okay. Similarly, in the second example, here y is the name of the array, and in that we are storing 5 float elements. Here in the third example, we have declared the array, the name of the array is z, and this array can store 20 characters, right. So, this is how can we declare the array. Next is how can we initialize it, right. Once we have declared the array, that means it will occupy some amount of space into the random access memory. But why we are reserving a space into the random access memory? Obviously to store the element. So, here basically there are two ways are there. By using that we can put our values into the array. The first thing, here we have declared a array x, and then the size of the array x is 5, and how many we can say which type of data that we can store into the x? So, integer. That means x is the array and it can store 5 integer elements. Now, this is what we have the array, for example, and this array x is having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right. This x can store how many elements? 5 elements. Now, suppose if you are writing something like this, let x of 0 is equal to 5, what computer will do? Computer will write it down element 5 into the place 0. Here 0 is known as the index number, because you know array can store a multiple element, right. So, here whenever you are storing the value, at that time you have to mention the index number. If we are talking about a second line of the program, that is x of 1 is equal to 10, what the computer will do? Here the computer will put element 10 into the first place of your array x. Okay. Similarly, you can put one more element here, right. How can we can say write the syntax of it? This is something you can write x of 2, it is equal to 15, and in that way we can go up to x of 4, x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3 and x of 4. So, total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can store 5 elements in it. The another way, whenever you are declaring the array, at that time you can mention your elements in the form of curly brackets. So, here what we have done is we have declared an integer array of size 5, the name of the array is x, and we are initializing it 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. So, once you are doing this, right, here you can get 20, here you can get 25 and so on. Okay. Now, this is the way, these are the two different way where we can initialize the array. Indexing. So, as we have discussed into the previous slide, that array elements, because array is a collection right? Number of elements we can store into the same name, and that is our array. So, each element can be separated or can be accessed by its index number, right. So, basically let us suppose if we have the array like this, and here you have the number of elements, let 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, 5, 10, 15, 20. Suppose if you want to print 15, in that case how can you write the statement? We can write printf, then obviously we are printing a number, so format specifier will be a %d, and then you need to write x of 2. Index number is very important because array is a collection. So, which element that you want to access, if you have written x of 2, that means the computer will access the second part of your array x, and this will print 15. Okay. Now, second thing, always whenever you are declaring the array, you can put your first element on position number 0. Array always start from index number 0. So, first element that you can put it on position number 0. This is also called as a lower bound, right. So, lower bound means the first element that you can put it into the array. Similarly, the highest number where you can store the element, it will be a size minus 1, because we are obviously we are starting from 0, we can go up to size minus 1. So, let us suppose if you have declared array like this, say integer x of 5, that means you can place your first element on the lower bound, that is a 0, and last element you can put it on position number 4, right. We cannot store any element on position number, we can say 5, right. We can place our last element on position number 4. Okay. So, I think what is the we can say lower bound, what is the upper bound, that is clear. Now, we will just go ahead. There are two different type of arrays are there. One which is called a one dimensional array. One dimensional array is something like this, where we have only one column and number of row. So, this is something 0, 1, 2, 3, there are number of rows are there, but how many columns we have? We have only one column. So, here suppose if you are declaring let integer x of 5, so this will be your single dimensional array. But let us suppose if you want to store a matrix, if you have declared something like this, say integer x 3, 3. So, in that case you know your array will be declared like this, which will have 0, 1, 2 rows as well as 0, 1, 2 columns, right. Suppose if you want to place 5 here, so in that case how can we write? X of 0th row and 0th column will have element 5. X of 0th row and first column should have 10. So, here the computer will store 10 and so on. So, here you know in this type of declaration our array will be declared like this, which will have only one column and multiple rows are there. So, this type of array is known as a single dimensional array and or one dimensional array, and in this type of declaration integer x 3 comma 3, we have basically 9 number of elements, 3 rows are there and 3 columns are there. So, this is called a 2 dimensional array, and in the same way we can go up to 7th dimension. Okay. Now, here we have a one program of the array. First what we have done is we have included the header file, that is called stdio.h as well as the conio.h. Then here we have a function that is void main. We have declared one array x. The size of the array is 5 and we can record 5 different integer elements. We have taken one we can say more variable to run a loop, that is called I. Now, here what we have done is we are taking 5 different numbers from the user and that number we are storing into the array, right. So, here you know when the loop will run for the first time, obviously the value of I will be a 0, and when the value of I will be a 0, the first element entered by the user will be placed on x of 0. Once again the computer will repeat this thing. Now, this time in the second iteration your I will becomes 1. So, whatever number will be entered by the user, that has to be placed on x of 1 and so on. Similarly, after recording all 5 elements from the user, what we have done is we have printed a message, that is you have entered, and then we are printing all the elements. So, here basically in the case of array, if you want to take more than one numbers or we can say multiple numbers, in that case you can take the benefit of the loop. This is what the output. Here after running the program, the computer program will take a 5 number from us and all the numbers will be recorded into the array, and finally this all numbers that we are printing, right, from the array. Now, friends, in the first example, basically what we have done is we have just stored the number of elements into the array and all the elements that we have recorded and we have printed it on the screen. Now, basically there are two type of operations are there which we can perform on the array. The first operation, it is known as a sort operation, and second operation is known as a searching operation. So, consider this program where we have the number of elements 51, 7, 28, 20 and 5. These are the numbers that we have stored in the array x. X having a capacity 5 and it can store all integer numbers. Apart from that, we have taken 3 extra variable to run a loop, that is called I and j. One additional variable temp we have taken to swap the or exchange the element. Now, here what we are doing is, first of all we are printing all the elements of the array as it is. So, you know here the message will be printed, that is array before sorting, and then it will print 51, 7, 28, 20 and 5. Now, this is the procedure that we have done. Now, after printing all the element before sorting, we will do a sorting procedure. So, this is the code I have written to sort the array. Now, here you just consider we have the array that will have a 51, 7, 28, 20 and 5. We are just starting with I is equal to 0, right. So, I is equal to 0. Similarly, we have a j also equal to 0, right. Now, we are comparing the value of j plus 1th element and jth element. So, here let us suppose your j is 0. So, here you have a j and this is your j plus 1th element, right, because j is 0. So, obviously, j plus 1 is 1 element and this is 0, index number 1, 2, 3 and last is 4. Okay. Now, if the element at j plus 1, that is 7, we are comparing it with x of j, right. That means 7th we are comparing with 51. If the element located at j plus 1th position, if it is a smaller than element at x of j, we just have to exchange both the numbers, right. So, this is the code I have written to exchange both the element. So, after this 7 will come first, followed by 51, 28, 20 and 5. Now, again your j loop will take a iteration. So, obviously, the j will becomes now 1, right. If your j is 1, that means now we are comparing another two element, that is here j and this is j plus 1. Again we are checking whether the j plus 1th element is a smaller than jth element. If yes, again we are exchanging both the elements. So, now we are getting 7, 28, 51, 20 and 5. Again your loop of j will take a one more iteration and it will take the value of j from 1 to 2. So, in that case again second and third element will be compared, because 51 is a bigger than 20, again it will take a exchange. Okay. And after completion of, we can say, the loop of j, we will get 7, 28, 25 and 51, the biggest element that we can get it at the end of the, we can say, array. Now, the same procedure we are repeating, because here we have made a one more loop, that is a loop of I. So, now I will take 1, I is equal to 1, again we will start from j is equal to 0, right, and so on. If we are continuing this process, we will get the array that is in the sorted order. So, once the array will be sorted, what we are doing is we are printing all the element again, but this time it will print all the element of the array in the sorting order. Okay. So, now suppose if we are looking the output of it, so we are getting array before sorting, it was 51, 7, 28, 20 and 5, and after sorting we will have 5, 7, 20, 28 and 51. Okay. Now, we will consider the another example, and in that example we will perform a search operation, right. So, consider this is a program, and in that program we have taken array x which can store 10 integer elements, plus to run a loop we have taken one more variable I, and here user will enter a element which we need to search. So, to store that element we have one more variable that is called search element. Now, first of all we are just prompting to the user enter 10 numbers, and then whatever 10 numbers are entered by the user, that numbers we are scanning and we are putting it into the array x, right. So, now the loop will run for 10 times, it will take 10 integers and it will be stored into the array x. Now, what will we do is we will just take one more element, right. We are just asking to the user which element that you want to search. Okay. Now, whatever element is entered by the user, that element we are storing or scanning into the search element variable. Now, we will just start from our loop, that is I is equal to 0 to somewhat, because of our array size is 10, obviously we need to go up to 10. So, you just remove this 5 and put it 10, and then you just compare the x of ith element with the search element. If the comparison is success, in that case you are success or succeed to locate the particular element. So, we are just printing the message, that is element found on percentage d position, and then we will break this particular loop. Let us suppose if you are comparing the search element on a position number 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, up to you are going up to 9, but the comparison does not succeed. That means, what we can say is search element is not there in the array. So, in that case obviously, if I is 10, if I will becomes 10, that means we have tried to compare the number of elements of the array, but we are not getting a single element who match with the search element, and in that case we will print the message, that is search element not found. Fine. So, now let us suppose if we are running this program, in that case here like number of elements, I have entered 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 and 50. Then obviously the program will prompted us to enter the search element. Let us suppose I want to search where is 25. So, I have entered 25. The program will just check whether the 25 is located on x of 0, no, x of 1, no, x of 3, no, x of 4, right. And finally, whenever the computer is getting the element, it will print the position, right. So, this is what, how can we perform a search operation into the we can say by using a C program into the array. Okay. So, now we are just keeping our discussion up to here. In the next session, we will learn how can we use an array to store the strings, as well as how can we perform a different type of string operations, right. Goodbye.